It's that time again, where for 8 weeks I get to fill my soulless body of any form of happiness by watching some more Disney Plus TV shows. This time it is Ahsoka, created and written by Dave Filoni. It went on for 8 episodes. The first 2 were actually done together, so Bryce actually went on for 7 weeks, but hey, I guess that last weekend I'll just have to try and find some form of happiness. Don't know where I'm finding that, but anyway, let's begin, shall we, on Ahsoka. Star Wars Ahsoka, aka Rebels Season 5, written and created by Dave Filoni, a spin-off to The Mandalorian as part of the time frame of said show. The cast includes Gandalf the Orange, please stick to being a Mandalorian, watch your husband, I know him, R.I.P. Rey. You only like her because you fancy her. Remember her? David loves a paycheck tenant, Grand Elon Musk. Anthony, I'm a classically trained actor, Daniels. So, the Ahsoka TV show. What did I overall think of it, first of all, as a kind of a non-spoiler moment right now? Overall, I enjoyed it. I actually thought it was a pretty fun show. I thought it was far better than Season 3 of Mandalorian, where it felt like it went nowhere with nothing actually happening while it was going through that journey. While here there was a journey, but it felt like things were least kind of happening. And we'll kind of get to the finale where maybe I didn't think it was the greatest. But overall, I thought the cast were kind of a mixed bag. Some were either really great, some were either just not for me, and some were just fine. But yes, overall, music was good. The writing was overall good. I think Dave Filoni does a good job. But yeah, overall, I think it was better than Boba Fett, Obi-Wan, not as good as Andor. I still think Andor is the best Star Wars show that's ever happened for Star Wars. Just even better than that first season of Mandalorian. I still think Andor is just, in terms of everything, frankly, it's really good. So let's do a bit of a kind of breakdown of the season, shall we? So the first load of episodes do actually quite a really good job of basically introducing everyone, bringing back Ahsoka. I think she does a really good job. I think she's really good. Introducing again of Sabine, the first kind of live action we've had of her. And I'm going to say it right now, best thing about this show, I really love Sabine. I am not the greatest fan of the whole her wanting the Force and trying to use the Force and with that sort of stuff. Personally, I would have liked it if she just kept being a Mandalorian. I know that was stuff that was kind of teased and, to be honest, shown as well in the Rebel show, but that just wasn't for me. I kind of like when she was just more being that Mandalorian that loved painting on graffiti and stuff like that. I like that sort of stuff with her. They should have done more graffiti in the show. I just kind of thought that there. But yeah, best thing about the show. And also, I think a little bit of the issue with the show is it focused a bit too much on Sabine and maybe not enough on Ahsoka, and the stuff about that coming up I'll talk about. Hera, I'm not a fan of the actress that played Hera. We all know the reason why she got the role, I think, because I don't think she was right for the role. I think she's fine. There's something just off. I can't pinpoint it, but there's just something just kind of not there. But the first couple of episodes, it's all about, Ahsoka gets this another map. There's another map, and they use that to try and find Ezra. And Barrett's also thrown in the kind of meantime because there's this glowing threat that they think that Thrawn will return. So yeah, I think the first good load of episodes do a good job of establishing new characters, as well establishing characters from an animated show and doing a live action version of them. So I think overall they do quite a good job. But as obviously the seasons kind of go on, the high point is when it gets to episode 4 and there's a big cliffhanger of seeing Anakin Skywalker. And many people can have an issue of the way Hayden looked. I thought he looked perfectly fine, if I'm honest. I don't think there was anything wrong with him. And then we obviously get to episode 5, where the whole episode is just, I know what this is, I know what that is, I know this thing. That's kind of it, because I find the episode very quite bizarre. And it's the one I'll probably talk about the most, because, so the whole episode, you get this feeling that Ahsoka wanted to die. I don't really know, because so Anakin does, kind of fights with her a bit and kind of says, oh, you have a, kind of choice and all that, and the whole time I'm thinking, was Ahsoka wanting to not go back to her world? I was quite confused by that sort of stuff. And, the flashbacks kind of the Clone Wars, though they weren't really flashbacks, they were kind of visions, I guess you could say. in concept is cool, but in practice it's just cloud and smoke. And you could tell budget wise it was just it's what I guess they could do with it. So I understand maybe why you couldn't maybe do certain things, but a part of me just feels like you shouldn't do it if you can't do it to 100%. Personally, says the fat schmuck sitting here saying it, but it was this is the first time we're seeing live action Clone Wars, and it was kind of underwhelming. I thought, yeah, it's cool seeing Captain Rex, I guess, that sort of stuff. That I find that stuff cool, but at the same time, I'm just like, I need more. I need more. That's why I love Andor, where there's barely any really in your face references. It's very much focusing on character and story, and we get moments of that in Ahsoka, but overall, kind of not as much. But just like in Lord of the Rings, thankfully the eagles arrive. Yes, we have the whales that appear, and very conveniently, they just kind of, I thought, just appeared when they were kind of needing to be, I guess, a bit like the eagles, maybe, is like in Lord of the Rings. When we get kind of like into the last kind of couple of episodes, they use the whales because they need to get to obviously the other galaxy. And I don't know why, there was a part of me just thinking, oh god, imagine if like they went to like our galaxy. And I was like, are we going to see Ahsoka walking about New York City? Like, how horrible that would be. Luckily that never happened. I liked it. It felt like old school Star Wars, of that kind of unknown, and it felt old sci-fi kind of type where don't know where to go, and thankfully they went to the exact same galaxy Thrawn was in, and is whereas obviously Sabine was captured. That was lucky. That's how it worked. Of all the galaxies out there, luckily they went to that one. And so obviously we get to this point, and I'm going to talk more about here mostly because I've only seen the whole show once, so I'm still kind of thin on memory on the show. But we see Thrawn, who looks fine. I know I did joke about Elon Musk, a lot of people did, and I can see it as well. It doesn't look the greatest, if I'm honest. It was still cool that they got Lars Mikkelsen to actually come back, even though his voice sounds a bit different. He's not as kind of, I don't know, more kind of robotic, a bit more cold sounding in Rebels. I really like his performance in Rebels. And overall with Thrawn, I think he's fine. They just don't really do much with him, sadly. He just kind of mostly just stands about and waits for his ship to go, and that's kind of it. A cool stuff was, and I think we all kind of knew it was coming, was the Night Troopers, which actually in the finale that actually Bright's named, was that basically we've got zombie stormtroopers. And I like that idea of like Thrawn doesn't actually have a big army, but it's just simply because he's got an undead army. He doesn't really need a huge army, and I kind of maybe like that idea. I like the idea when you first see them and you see those troopers. And I like the idea that maybe that's all he has. He doesn't actually have anyone else in the ship. It's just, that's all he's got. But because they're undead, so he can kind of get away with it. And I like that sort of stuff. And obviously in the last kind of episodes, we finally see Ezra. And I see a couple of folk were not kind of crazy about Ezra. I thought he was fine. I thought he did a good job. And it'll be interesting to see what they do more with him. But it was the finale I found a bit kind of off for me. I don't know. It was just stuff I felt like, come on, get going, and it kind of goes nowhere. Where I feel like, all right, okay, right, here's to the next, wherever is next. I know is the Skeleton Crew is the next show, and I think that's meant to be set in this time frame as well. So we'll see what happens there. With that, but yeah, overall, it's a fun show. Not as good as Andor or season 1 Mandalorian, but better than Obi-Wan and Book of Boba Fett and season 3 Mandalorian. This show's probably in the same part of season 2 Mandalorian, where it isn't perfect, but it's a lot of fun. It is really good, and the stuff that doesn't gel isn't too distracting on like maybe certain shows where it was like that. So yeah, it's overall fun. I think the cast are really good. I think Dave Filoni does a really damn good job, and I'm glad that he's the one that's helming the movie, which whenever that comes, which I think we all think is going to be the heir to the Empire. Surely that's what it's going to be called. But I'm looking forward to that, seeing how that goes. So I give this show, what did I give this? I'll give this 8 Ginger Geeks out of 10. which I still don't know if this ranking's a good. Do you really? Nobody wants to be a ginger geek, you know. That's this. What's worse, being ginger or being a geek? Who knows? But as always, please like, share, and subscribe. That would be fantastic. More videos in the future. So until then, see you later.